you're a great-looking bunch of people. Thanks for coming today. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I am the board chair of the American Red Cross of the Mountain Empire. I want to welcome you to our 4th annual Celebration of Heroes. But before we get started, do we have any techies, social media folks out there? We're actually streaming this event live on Facebook, on the chapter's Facebook page. So if you're inclined, please share that with your family and friends. And then after today, we will also be posting other updates on our Facebook page, so start following us. We're here today to show public recognition and appreciation to the brave and caring people in our community who demonstrate extraordinary courage and inner strength. They certainly reinforce our faith in the good people around us. This event also has another purpose. It raises funds for disaster service work of the American Red Cross right here in the Mountain Empire. All sponsorships and tickets from sales today the event helps raise money to continue the work that we're doing here in the Mountain Empire. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize and thank the Celebration of Heroes Volunteer Committee. When I say your name, if you will stand up. Gary McGow, Mary Lou Smith, Chief Mike Armstrong, Eddie Neely, Michael Blackstone, great job, Michael, Pat Bryant, Tony Venable, Patty Ferrari, and Alice Neese. Again, thank you. And thanks for coming, and I'll turn it over to Bill.
So thank you, Sandy. I am Bill Grinnell. I'm the Executive Director for the Mountain Empire Chapter, and I'm really excited that you all joined us today. The Red Cross plays an important role in disaster preparedness and relief. Dramatic and sudden events such as tornadoes, flooding, earthquakes, and hurricanes make the headlines. But the real day-to-day work of the Red Cross centers on the continuing needs of the communities like ours, where a house fire can be a family's very own Hurricane Sandy. And the Red Cross and its trained volunteers are there 24/7, 365 days a year to meet those needs. If you are here today and are a Red Cross volunteer, including our board of directors, would you please stand so we can recognize you real quick? There's a lot of you out there. Come on. All right. So we have a slide up there, and I just want to point it out real quick, is that every one of those little red dots represents a response that the Red Cross went to in the last 10 months. So this is something that, as you can see, we covered the southwest corner of Virginia pretty well. Their support doesn't just help with this event, it helps ensure that we have funds throughout the year. So we want to take a moment and make sure that we recognize our sponsors. They help us provide relief for our disasters. They help us provide service to our armed forces. They help us provide life-saving training. So as we continue this event on our 4th year, we are thrilled with the positive comments that we have received so far. And we'd like to thank WCYB for being one of our sponsors. We'd like to thank the Robert Todd Carter Foundation for being one of our gold sponsors, Food City and Sheriff Alert System for being our silver sponsors, the Higher Ed Center for being one of our bronze sponsors, and Humphrey Flowers and Gifts for being our decoration sponsor. So again, please join me with some appreciation for our sponsors. One thing we've noticed as we do our work in the community, there are a lot of great people who do tremendous things day in and day out. People who are on the disaster scene with us or spend many hours volunteering their time to make someone else's life better. We've decided we would like to recognize some of those people, and now let's watch a short video that WCYB produced for us and the reason we are here today to honor these deserving individuals.
In our time of need, they were there for us. Ordinary people giving extraordinary service. News 5 WCYB and the Mountain Empire chapter of the American Red Cross want you to help us celebrate our local heroes. Let us know who saved a life, showed courage, or made a difference in our community in 2016. Go to redcross.org/Mountain Empire Heroes and nominate someone you think is a hero by January 31st. A celebration of heroes from the Mountain Empire chapter of the American Red Cross and News 5 WCYB.
So it is a pleasure to introduce our MC this afternoon, Olivia Bailey of WCYB. Olivia has been in the local broadcasting business for 5 years. She's a reporter for WCYB, and please join me in welcoming Olivia to the stage.
That's supposed to be a TV secret. Well, it's a pleasure to be here today. We're here to honor some very, very special people who have provided service to our communities. They've lifted our communities up. They've shined lights of hope into the lives of many others. In the words of Marion Wright Edelman, service to others is the rent we pay to be alive. It's the very purpose of life, and not something we do in our spare time or after we've reached our personal goals. It's up to us. It's up to me. Her words are now inscribed on the beautiful awards that our recipients will receive today, and we're truly blessed to have many people in our area who, without hesitation, make life better for others. They notice the things that need to be done, and they get involved. They are both unselfish and compassionate. Some may have looked the other way when someone was in need, or saw that something was wrong, or that something could be better in our communities. But these are not the people who we honor today. These are people who put others first. They rolled up their sleeves and got involved. And you'll hear from some of the stories today that some even put their lives on the line to do that. You'll hear their stories. You'll witness the difference that they made. They inspire us, and they're going to touch your heart today. Discovering these heroes, it was exciting. There were many nominations received throughout our chapter, co-workers, friends, and the people who helped us and told us about these everyday heroes. And there were many people that were not chosen for today's event, but who still truly gave a remarkable service to our community, and we're thankful for all of those heroes who serve day in and day out. Now, as we begin these awards today, I want to give a short reminder to today's honorees. There's going to be a group photograph after the awards, and we'll take that immediately after the program. So please gather at the stage at that time, and we'll take the group photo. We won't keep you long. As I announce each award, please come to the front of the room and stand on stage with Bill and Sandy while we read your story. We want everyone to know the work that you've given to the community here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We begin with our military hero, Leonard Bowens. Leonard has served our country and was medically discharged from being a combat veteran when his vehicle was hit by an IED. Leonard was then honored with a Purple Heart. Leonard has done very well for his community, volunteering as a firefighter, and rose up through the ranks to become the fire chief of Jasper Volunteer Fire and Rescue. Leonard has developed into a very good asset and chief for his community. Since becoming fire chief, he's gotten engines and equipment donated, as well as running rescues to meet the needs of that community there. He devotes countless hours to his community, as well as neighboring communities. Thank you, Leonard, for your service. Our 911 dispatch hero is Nancy Mullins. Nancy has led the Wise County Dispatch for several years now and continues to do a great job. Nancy's been a great leader for the dispatchers there in Wise County by leading by example. She's a great motivator for her peers, and she can be counted to remain calm and collected while providing instructions to someone calling for 911 services. The dispatch covers the Sheriff's Department, 7 police agencies, 7 rescue agencies, and several more paid services, 8 fire departments, and air rescue agencies. Thank you, Nancy, for your service. Our community impact organization heroes will now be the Bristol Recovery Road for Women. Bristol Recovery Road for Women, Inc. was founded in March of 2008 by a couple of women in Bristol, Tennessee, who saw a need for addiction recovery in the Tri-Cities area. Since then, BRRW has touched the lives of many women from Chattanooga to Roanoke. This past year, BRRW has been the most successful in terms of the number of graduates for their program. Under the leadership of Donna Camper, the executive director, BRRW graduated 6 women in 2016. Anyone who understands addiction recovery knows this is an amazing statistic for such a small recovery program who works with about 5 women at any given time. And in our region, the recidivism rate is over 80%. So to have 6 women in 1 year graduate and continue their recovery is a positive impact in all of our lives. Women come to BRRW from jail, prison, and local detox programs. They're often referred by jail chaplains, people in the DA's or Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, friends, and relatives who've heard about their program. Donna has developed a relationship with these referral sources so they know about the program and can offer the clients the choice to come to a faith-based program that can change the course of their lives forever. When a woman graduates from BRRW, she is drug and alcohol-free, employed, and demonstrates the ability to implement the instructions provided during her time in the program. Congratulations to Bristol Recovery Road for Women, and thank you for the work that you do. We now honor one of our community impact heroes, Marilyn Ott. Marilyn Ott was nominated for her outstanding community service to the Family Promise of Bristol. Now, if you're not familiar with the Family Promise, it's an interfaith organization that provides housing and case management services for homeless families with children in the Bristol area. Family Promise screens the families for entry and then provides intense case management services designed around what that particular family needs at the time and in order to get back on their feet and become independent. This may include job searching, further education, obtaining child care, learning parenting skills. It could also include budgeting, banking, and saving, or whatever else the family might need at that time. During those days, the family members work and attend school and spend other time at Family Promise's Day Center. That's where the case manager works with each family. Each evening and overnight, the families are housed and fed by member churches who take in guest families for a week at a time. Family Promise coordinates the church work, oversees the case management, and has overall responsibility for those families while they're in the program. Families then graduate when they've saved enough money to sustain themselves and are able to move in independent housing. Families typically remain in that program for an average of 6 months before graduation. Thank you and congratulations, Marilyn. Our next community impact hero is Bob Guffey. Bob Guffey is not with us today, but we do want to read about the work in his community. Bob has served on the Bristol Little League Board of Directors for 40 plus years. He served on the district board for Little League Baseball for several years. When on the district board, he was over the junior and senior league area district tournament. He's traveled to the Virginia State LL tournament many times with Little League, Senior League, Junior League, and Big League teams. In 1992, he traveled with the Bristol Big League team all the way to Florida for the Big League World Series. He was also involved with the Challenger Little League Baseball, which works with handicapped children and was just recently created. Bob has also worked very hard with Special Olympics in the area, and he not only supports these very special children, but he truly loves them as well. He would go bowling with them also every week during the school year. He supported a special education class at Virginia High School, helping with their Christmas party by playing Santa Claus and giving out gifts. He's also played Santa to many children visiting their home on Christmas Eve. Bob is a worker in his church as well as in the community. He's been secretary for the Woodman Chapter 269 for many years. We want to thank Bob for all that he's done. Our next community impact hero is Susan White. Susan has been working with the Sheriff's Office to provide a new program that will have a big impact in their county. After years of working and preparing it and making sure it will work with the 911 system, the Special Needs and Disaster, also known as SNID, has been launched. This program will allow homebound individuals or people with certain medical needs to be registered on what those needs are at the Tazewell County 911 Center. Then in the event of an emergency or disaster in that person's area, 911 will then be able to have someone contact and check on those involved in that program who have a special need. Thank you, Susan, for helping ensure the safety of your neighbors in Tazewell County. Our education hero is April Addington. Miss Addington teaches environmental research at Twin Springs High School. She led her students in securing a grant awarded by the Clinch River Valley Initiative to fund an anti-litter campaign. Miss Addington and her students presented anti-litter workshops to local elementary schools, administered an anti-litter slogan contest, and has conducted several stream cleanup events. Miss Addington has gone beyond the call of duty, ensuring that her students not only learn the subject material, but they are vested in the environment and community action. Thank you, April, for all that you're doing with your students and how that will support our community. Our next education hero is Dr. Oliver McBride. Dr. McBride and the tireless, unselfish commitment he has made to Southwest Virginia in developing the future balanced growth of how we learn and grow, both spiritually and at work within the community and the K-12 education system, is unmatched. He's inspired others to follow suit in bettering society and the community in general for both Carroll County and Southwest Virginia. In his retirement over the last year from being the executive director of the Crossroads Institute, Gay Lax, and the superintendent of Carroll County School System, Dr. McBride has volunteered his unwavering talent to encourage and head up numerous community service organizations as well as state education development boards. Thank you, Dr. McBride, for all that you've done and all that you're doing to make part of Virginia a better place to live. Our volunteer emergency responder hero is Charlie Harrington. "47 years ago, Charlie Harrington joined the Marion Life-Saving Crew, and in December, the town honored him upon his retirement. He was the longest tenured captain in the crew's history and the Commonwealth of Virginia, having run over 9,000 calls, delivering 4 babies, and resuscitating a dog at a fire scene. The Marion native said he joined the life-saving crew in 1969 following the tragic loss of his grandfather the previous year. That's because the community did not have such a service at that time. He wanted to do what he could for the community, and after 47 years, it's hard to give up, Harrington said. But in all those years, he's never been paid a dime for all of his work on the Marion Life-Saving Crew. In a quote, he said, "People ask me why. I say, you couldn't pay me to do this job." Thank you, Charlie, for giving so much of yourself to help others. Our workplace hero is Pam Venable. Pam's not able to be with us today because I've just learned she's in Lynchburg receiving another award. So we're going to have a representative come and actually accept that award for her. Tamara Spradlin is going to come up and accept that award. But we're going to read about what Pam has done for our community. Pam Venable is very deserving of this award because of her willingness to go above and beyond the call of duty to assist others on a daily basis. Pam is a senior accountant for the city of Bristol, Virginia, and is also a clerk to the Bristol, Virginia City Council. This alone keeps her very busy, but lucky for us, Pam demonstrates service to others on a regular basis. In addition to her daily workload, she goes out of her way to help others complete their task. Her selfless attitude has had a positive effect on the Bristol, Virginia Fire Department as well as the community. Because of Pam's desire to continuously help others at work, the fire department and the community has been the beneficiary of that hard work. She has helped the fire department apply for and luckily receive multiple state and federal grants. Those grants require a lot of paperwork to be submitted at various state and local agencies. Pam is always ready to assist in submitting the needed paperwork to receive these grant funds and then assist with the purchase of needed equipment. We want to thank Pam for making such a positive difference in our community. Our next hero, the firefighter hero, is Matt Russell. Matt has been a firefighter for several years now, and he has a family with young children and still makes time to be a police officer, a lieutenant at the fire department, a member of the Virginia Wildland Fire Crew, EMT, and a hazardous materials technician on the regional team. Matt wears several hats, as you can tell, and he does a great job at all of them. We want to thank you, Matt, for working so hard and in so many ways to make our communities a safer place to live. Our next hero is a medical hero in our community, Dr. Paul Phillips. When Paul Phillips started out to pursue a career in the medical field, he always knew he would want to return home to Southwest Virginia to practice. A native of the region, Phillips spent his childhood in Dickinson and Russell counties. Growing up in the Coalfield area, Phillips learned early that there are good things about the region, but there are also some shortcomings. Then he set out to remedy one of the biggest problems he saw in the region, which was a lack of access to healthcare providers. Phillips received his associate's degree from Southwest Virginia Community College and then achieved his undergraduate degree from the University of Virginia's College at Wise. He attended Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine and was a member of the inaugural graduating class there in 2007. He completed his residency at East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, and as he approached the opportunity of medical school, one of the things he wanted to look at was being able to help fill some of the needs of rural Southwest Virginia. He wanted to return to the area because there are a lot of underserved people here in our communities, and he wanted to be able to fill a bit of that void. With his skills and credentials, Paul could go anywhere he wanted to practice, but he has chosen to stay and serve tirelessly to help those he lives with and those he grew up with. We want to thank you, Dr. Phillips, for helping serve those that may not be able to help themselves. Our Red Cross hero for the day is Jean Magnussen and Peggy Williams. Jean and Peggy are two sisters that grew up in Damascus, and they've lived there for many decades and know pretty much everyone within that community of approximately 800 residents. When the Red Cross started their home fire preparedness program, Jean and Peggy decided to take it upon themselves to visit every home around Damascus and offer free Red Cross smoke detectors to their friends and neighbors. In the last 10 months, they've installed over 250 smoke detectors and helped create numerous fire escape plans to ensure safety of those residents. Statewide, over 5,000 smoke detectors have been installed since July 1st, and 2 families have already been saved. One of those families was from right here in the Mountain Empire chapter. And it seems pretty likely that thanks to Peggy and Jean, when, if not if, another fire in the Damascus area that saves a life are likely to be saved because of their concentrated efforts. Thank you, Peggy, and thank you, Jean. Our corporate Good Samaritan heroes are honored as Food City. Well, if you've lived in the area long enough, you know Food City has risen to the occasion when disaster struck on numerous occasions over the last 12 months. In particular, when the fires were blazing in Tennessee, Food City stepped up and helped organize collection drives for those badly needed supplies for the victims, as well as the first responders at the fires in the Gatlinburg area. Those items included food and water, as well as cleaning supplies. They then helped get those donations shipped to the area using their trucks and their distribution networks. They then finally helped ensure that those products were also distributed to those in need. Now, this isn't the first time that Food City had done something like this, though. Earlier in the year, when the floods that hit West Virginia as well as the Commonwealth, the good people at Food City realized that our neighbors to the north were in dire shape, that they ran donation drives for food, water, as well as cleanup materials for those folks as well. While doing this kind of generous and heartfelt work for Tennessee could be seen as good business sense, Food City has no grocery stores in West Virginia. Food City still stepped up to help, just because it was the right thing to do, to help people in trouble with great needs. We want to thank you, Steve Smith, and your Food City team for being a great corporate Good Samaritan at a time when we could use so many more. Thank you. Our law enforcement heroes for the day are Eric Lucy, Scott DeBusk, and Jason Shepard. On Friday, September 9th, 2016, at 5:14 in the morning, Officer DeBusk was dispatched to a structure fire. Dispatch advised that it was called in by a neighbor and that they were unsure if anyone was still inside the home at the time he arrived. As he approached the scene, Officer DeBusk could see flames, and then upon arrival, he found the majority of the home was fully engulfed. After speaking briefly with a neighbor, he learned that people may still possibly be inside that residence. He attempted to approach the front door of that residence, but was unable to do so due to the smoke. He then walked around to the right side of the house where he saw a light coming from the window. He observed a female in bed asleep, so he began banging on the window and yelling at her, trying to get her awake. He was finally able to do so and alerted her to the danger in that home. He removed the outside window and screen and helped her open that window. He was then able to ask if anyone else was inside. She said that there were, and that they were in the bedroom next door. With instructions from Officer DeBusk, the female began banging on the walls, trying to get the other people in the home awake. The female was able to get the other 3 people in the house. At that point, he was joined on scene by Officer Eric Lucy and Sergeant Jason Shepard with the Washington County Sheriff's Office. The 3 officers were able to get 4 people and 4 dogs out the window and out of the burning home. We want to thank all 3 of you for what you did that morning and what you do every day for our communities. Our next heroes recognized today are our rescue heroes, the Bristol Swiftwater Rescue Team. The Swiftwater Rescue Team is comprised of several members of the fire department who volunteer to undergo hundreds of hours of training in order to qualify to serve as a Swiftwater Rescue Team member. On the night of June 23rd, the Bristol, Virginia Fire Department Swiftwater Rescue Team was placed on alert status by the Virginia Department of Emergency Management for a possible response to support the rescue efforts in the Commonwealth of Virginia and possibly West Virginia because of severe flooding as a result of more than 10 inches of rainfall. Both Virginia and West Virginia officials were receiving numerous reports that citizens were trapped due to rising floodwaters in both states. Both governors quickly declared a state of emergency due to those unfolding events, and shortly after being alerted, the Bristol, Virginia Swiftwater Rescue Team was formally activated for an official response to Greenbrier County, West Virginia. Consequently, while en route to Greenbrier County, the Bristol team was diverted to Grinnell, West Virginia, due to the extreme number of persons trapped or missing in that area. The Bristol Swiftwater Rescue Team arrived there shortly after midnight and immediately commandeered a Hardee's restaurant that would serve as the command post from which they would coordinate those rescue operations. At the time, there were no other first responders on the scene, so the Bristol Swiftwater Rescue Team quickly went to work locating and rescuing trapped citizens without any local assistance. The team worked tirelessly throughout the night, searching for, locating, and removing those victims. Their work continued well into the next day, and in the end, the Bristol, Virginia Swiftwater Rescue Team would be credited with rescuing over 40 trapped people as well as 20 pets. And we want to recognize those. Team leader, Captain Don Farley, Command Post Sergeant Todd Legow, Ground Crew Firefighter Chuck Harowski, Ground Crew Firefighter Billy Cyphers, Boat 1 Crew, Captain Don Farley, Sergeant Brandon Moore, Firefighter Michael Whitaker, as well as the Boat 2 Crew, which is Lieutenant Robert Anderson, Sergeant Tyler Wright, and Firefighter Paul Moss. Thank you all for what you do. I think these stories tell the story of every day, what it's like in our communities and how often people are stepping up to serve when they're needed. I hope that you've been as impressed as these heroes as I have by the heroes in our communities. Thank you.
And we'd like to say thank you to Olivia for her being the MC today, and to WCYB and their continued support and media coverage and technical assistance. We have a Clara Barton house with a little story on the back that this represents our founder of the Red Cross, and we'd like to give that to you. Thank you.
Come back. I too would like to thank Olivia and WCYB for being such great partners to the celebration today, and to all of our sponsors and volunteers, committee, thank you. And thank you for each of you taking the time to participate in this year's Celebration of Heroes. Can we give all of our heroes another round of applause, please? Now, if you would like to support the Red Cross by making a donation in honor of one of today's heroes, please stop by the registration booth or look for any of the volunteers or staff. We would sure appreciate it. And don't forget, honorees, we're going to do some photographs afterwards, so don't be in a hurry. But thank you all for coming.
And with that concludes our program for today. Oh, thank you. That wasn't in the script, but it's meant to be. So, it's a marker on one of the programs at each table. If you've got the unusual program at your table, you get to take the centerpiece home. And that's courtesy of Humphrey's Flowers and Gifts in Abingdon. And with that, thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you at next year's celebration.